If you're running an e-commerce brand, you've probably wondered at some point if SMS marketing actually works, or if it's some shiny object that you're going to be chasing that's going to distract you from focusing more on email. Here's the reality of it. Email is your number one channel. No questions about that. That's always going to be the case. However, if you are not doing some form of SMS marketing, you are 100% leaving money on the table. No questions about that either. I've seen it time and time again. The brands that are making the most revenue, that are skyrocketing and scaling the fastest, are all in on both email and SMS. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at the core strategy behind SMS, what a lot of brands get wrong about SMS, but more importantly, what some of the smart brands are doing to drive up revenue every single day using SMS. Now, most e-commerce brands already know what SMS marketing is. The question I really hear most of the time from brand owners is, does SMS marketing work? Is it better than email? And how does it fit in the overall retention system? In so many conversations, there's this fundamental misunderstanding between the effectiveness of email versus SMS. And really, that's not the right question to be asking. As an e-commerce brand owner, the lens you should be really looking at it from is, what does my customer journey look like? And how can I use both email and SMS to make their lives a lot easier? That's really the way you should be looking at it from. Because here's the truth. Email is the foundation for conversions that you're going to be using for the most part. That's where you build trust. That's where you educate. That's where you nurture. That's where you build the know, like, and trust factor with a stranger who just got on your list, who may be new to your brand, right? So fundamentally, it's a brand building tool. In that sense, SMS isn't ever going to be a replacement for email. SMS lives in a completely different place in your customer's life. When somebody gives you their phone number versus their email address, they're looking for something a lot more different than what you'd be offering them in your emails. They're looking for access to a more personal channel, somewhere where they're going to get something more exclusive, a lot more value. And so that's fundamentally how you should be framing SMS versus your email. That's where SMS fits in the overall ecosystem and actually supports email. It's designed to attract a different kind of subscriber, one who wants to be more engaged with your brand and who's actually looking for a more privileged level of access. So, does SMS work? 100%, but only if you do it correctly. Is it better than email? I wouldn't say that. That's kind of crazy, but it does work really well when it's paired with email. So when it comes to the debate between email versus SMS, it's really about understanding your customer and how they live and make decisions every day, and then using the channels of email and SMS to help them make decisions a lot faster and a lot easier. I also want to go over the strategy for SMS and how a lot of successful brands are using it to drive more growth and retention. Now, a lot of e-commerce brands try to use email and SMS interchangeably, and that's really not the right way to do it at all, actually. So just for the record, email and SMS are not substitutes for one another. They're actually partners, and they work best when they're assigned very specific jobs within your retention system. So the way to look at it is that email often starts the sale and SMS often closes the sale. Email starts the sale in the sense that that's where you have to build a relationship anyways, right? You have to tell your brand story, you have to compare yourself to your competitors, you have to bust myths, you have to share customer testimonials, basically you set up your positioning, that kind of thing. SMS is you closing the sale and really getting them to take action. So you're sending, reminders, you're telling them that there's a sale starting or a sale ending, you're telling them a product just dropped, or there's a new version, a limited edition version of that product that they can get, and there's only a few they can buy, so they should act fast. That's what SMS is really more about. Fundamentally, if you try using SMS the same way as email, it's just not going to work out great. Having said that, if you rely on email exclusively, you are 100% going to miss out on conversions, especially during time-sensitive moments. And really, you just have to think about it a bit. An email will get sent to somebody's inbox and possibly be in their promotions tab, while an SMS will vibrate in their pocket while they're possibly having dinner with friends and family. That proximity changes timing, obviously, and also, more importantly, it shapes expectations. And so the most high-performing brands understand this difference between email and SMS, and therefore assign different roles to both channels so that there's no overlap or conflict. Now, I do want to address this directly, this idea of whether or not SMS is better than email. And long story short, the answer is no. Again, just not really the right way to look at it. They are not competitors. They are tools that happen to complement each other, and that's how you should be treating them. Having said that, performance does depend on context. So there are times where SMS outperforms email. And again, that's going to be mostly in an urgency-based context. So if you have a flash sale or you have a sale deadline coming, there are times where SMS will outperform email just because it's more immediate. But that just makes it situationally powerful. It does not necessarily mean that SMS is better than email, right? Now, if you want a clear guide on what email is better for versus what SMS is better for, here's exactly how to look at it. If you're trying to build trust, you're trying to educate your customers, you're trying to create create that long-term retention and establish brand depth, email is your best bet. However, if you're trying to drive urgency, you're trying to cut through the noise, you're trying to trigger fast action, you're trying to close existing intent, SMS is always going to be your best bet. So when it comes to understanding these areas of retention marketing, what you really have to remember is that email is all about building belief and SMS is all about accelerating actions. And that together, they'd help drive revenue for your business in a way that they normally wouldn't be able to do if you just used them individually. One of the biggest mistakes I see brands make with SMS is they basically treat it like email and write way too much. I'm talking paragraphs upon paragraphs of long explanations, and it's all in an attempt to like build the brand and nurture a relationship. When you use SMS for long form storytelling or broad product education, it just loses its edge, and honestly, it just feels very forced. So I wouldn't do it. So fundamentally, SMS works best when it's short, sweet, and straight to the point. So the next mistake I see a lot of brands make is that they just text way too often and way too arbitrarily. Again, it's not like email where you could just kind of show up in the inbox and nurture a relationship over time. You just have to have a really good reason to be texting someone. So unless you have a promotion that they should know about or a new product that's coming out or a limited time release, you should not just be texting people constantly and arbitrarily. So for most brands starting out, you want to just start off by texting once a week. Eventually you could get to a place where you're texting twice a week, once on weekdays and once on weekends, and maybe even more. But again, if you have like nothing going on, there's no promo, there's no new product coming out, there's no time sensitive thing that the person needs to know about. If you start texting arbitrarily, it just feels intrusive and it just doesn't work. In that sense, SMS is a very selfish channel. So like you better have a good reason why you're texting someone and disrupting their day and causing the phone in their pocket to vibrate. And it's also why SMS works a lot better when it's framed as insider access and VIP privilege. That means early access for new product drops, giving people first dibs for any restocks of anything that's sold out. If there's a limited run version of a product, they only get access to it because they're subscribed to SMS and there's a deadline, or there's a sale starting, so you're giving them the heads up, or there's a sale ending, so you're just letting them know so they can get their stuff before the sale is over. Those are all the best ways you could be showing up via SMS. And you do want to be careful a little bit with the frequency at which you send SMS. Like again, it's different from email where you can actually send too many SMSs and you can get in legal trouble. So just want to be careful with that. You do obviously want to make money. You do want to capitalize on revenue, but you want to do it so in a balanced manner where you're not pissing people off and getting the lawyers to come knock on your door. The other mistake I see brands making with SMS is they write in a very spammy kind of looking way. So they're writing in caps, they're putting a lot of exclamation marks, a lot of question marks, they're using very hypey language. It kills trust really quickly. It's very off-putting. People mark it as spam. So yeah, it just does nothing for your conversions and it just looks really bad too. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. So the other big mistake I see with SMS is that some brands actually use emojis. And I don't know if they realize that when you include an emoji, it goes immediately from 1 credit to 3 credits because it becomes an MMS. Special characters make your texting a lot more expensive. So in that sense, emojis are very arbitrary. Having said that, if you are planning on sending a picture, maybe you're a very visual brand and you're selling like a jacket and you have a new color and you want to show that in your text, well, you're going to be paying 3 credits anyways. So in that context, it's actually okay to include emojis because you're already footing the bill with the fact that you're sending a picture. So there it's okay. But if I just get a text from you, there's no image and there's just an emoji, that's just a total waste. That's not going to increase your conversions. It's just going to increase your costs. So don't be doing that. Now here's how smart brands do it. They treat SMS like a VIP channel. One strategy I see brands doing that works really well is you come up with a specific code for people who showed intent. They add it to cart or they start a checkout, and then you wait as the sale is getting close to finish. Maybe it's 5 hours before midnight. You send a text to these people with that code. It gives them an extra discount on top of the discount that is happening on the sale. Usually crushes because again, these people have shown intent and there's like the urgency of the sale ending. So it usually crushes, conversions are through the roof, and it's a great way to scoop up some extra sales right at the last minute. So definitely worth checking out. Another thing that smart brands do really well with SMS is they just know how to structure their messages really well every single time they hit send. It's actually a very simple structure that you too could follow. So they always lead with why the message matters. Then they get into the offer and they make that really obvious. Then they give the person an action to take, just one action. And they always end their message with a clean, trackable link that the person could click, go on their website, and then, make a purchase. So very simple. And that's what you should follow too. That's what the smart brands do. And yeah, it always works. It always drives conversions really high. So definitely give that a shot next time you send an SMS. Another high converting SMS strategy that's really easy to implement that a lot of brands do is they'll create duplicates of their SMS flows, whether it's their welcome, checkout abandon, cart abandon, SMS abandon. They'll create duplicates of those SMS flows and then tweak the language so that it matches whatever sale is going on their site. We usually see this for Black Friday because it just makes sense and it converts like crazy, but there's actually no reason why you can't do this for any sale period. So you could actually do this for your Christmas sale, your Valentine's sale, whatever sale period you have. It's always worth it to take your SMS flows and just tweak the language a little bit, because unlike email where there's a lot of variables you'd have to change and it's a lot more work, SMS is just a couple of words and you could just tweak that within seconds and minutes. So definitely worth giving a shot. Again, somebody sees message that just lets them know that there's something going on at that very moment. It drives a sense of urgency and therefore converts a lot more. So definitely worth checking out. And again, really easy to implement. So you should give it a shot if you haven't already. Now, SMS works really well with things like flash sales, right? Just because there's this baked in urgency of it being 48 hours and people have to act fast. So SMS shines like crazy here. You send an SMS on the day the sale starts, and then literally you could send an SMS the day after, just letting people know the sale is ending. And it's one of the few times where it's okay to send an SMS one day and the day after without it feeling intrusive, because again, it's a flash sale. You're just letting people know that they have only so much time to act on this crazy deal you've got. Usually works really well, converts like crazy. And obviously if you compounded with email, the results just like get even bigger. So definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. All the smart brands are doing it and you should be doing it as well. And yeah, that's everything you need to know about SMS marketing. If today's video helped you better understand how email and SMS work together, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'll be uploading more strategies and breakdowns for e-commerce brands who want to drive their revenue and retention with their email and SMS. Also, if you want to take an extra step deeper with what you learned today about SMS marketing, make sure to check out my video on how to optimize your pop-ups so that you can get quality signups for both email and SMS. So that'll be popping up somewhere here on the screen. But hey, that's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you checking out the video and I will catch you on the next one. Take care for now.